Alright, that's it. We should be on live. Arthur?
Yep.
Tim?
Tim? Is there like a delay or no? Hello? Tim? Tim?
Can you hear me?
Yep. Can you hear us?
Sorry, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Perfect. Jonas, can you hear me?
Yes, I'm with him.
Okay, cool. I'm ready when you guys are.
John, when was handled on the train? Did it roll away?
No, I'm not sure.
Handle?
I don't know. What Seiran meant to say was that there was a handle on a table and he's asking us if we threw it away. The question that plagues mankind and every single man, woman, child, creature of all beings. Did you throw away the handle? Arthur, would you throw that away?
I didn't see no handle.
Yeah, exactly. I would never throw a handle away.
Tim? We lost Tim.
Are you kidding me? Did we lose him? Tim.
I'm here.
Oh, okay. Alright, so good. We're on. We're fucking. That's it. We're on. Dude.
Oh, we're live? Awesome.
Yeah.
What are we doing? You made it worse.
I know. I'm sorry. Just was trying to restart it. Alright, boys.
Alright, so, again, well, that took a long time, but
That's
I'm
it.
glad we finally got that resolved. And, Jonas, it was always a pleasure hearing from you. Hey, it's good to hear from you again, man. It's been, I can't remember the last time I heard from you.
Yeah, it's been so long. I think from that night we went to Dunkin' Donuts. When we broke night.
Dunkin' Donuts.
Remember we broke night and we went to Dunkin' Donuts and we were like,
Oh my
really
god, it hasn't been that long.
yeah. I only seen you like a couple of more times after that.
Well, I don't remember, but, I do remember the night we broke that night in Dunkin' Donuts. It was a weird night, I remember that. That was like New Year's, I think.
Yeah. That was actually the first time I stayed up so late.
Oh my god. But so I guess Jonas, so what do you think, man? We haven't actually talked about the topic, but you guys just bring it up, and I guess I'll just answer whatever questions you got.
So the topic is what? It's dating in Asia, picking up women in Asia, China.
Last time we spoke, I was pretty much going over the history of like being in Asia, and I went over my travels, and I went over me being in China. I covered from like August 2009 all the way down to February 2010 when I went to Laos. So that's where I was at. But I did mention in a separate segment that I wanted to do something about girls in Asia with you guys, and Jonas told me he wanted to be involved too. So I guess we'll just kind of swap stories on that. What do you think?
Yeah, that sounds good. I actually have some questions for you. I'm curious about.
Well, I got some questions for you too, actually. First and foremost, man. I mean, how I know I mean, I guess you heard how I ended up in Asia, but if you don't mind asking, like, how did you end up in Asia?
So I was going to nursing school and then I finally finished. And then afterwards, I decided that I wanted to travel because before starting a career, I wanted to get that out of the way, see the world. So I decided to book a flight to Bangkok. That's where I began.
And when did that happen?
That was like 2017 beginning.
Oh shit! So I had been back. I got back with my wife in January of 2016. So you remember the month you went, or?
It was the beginning. It was like January. I left.
Oh, so you left when I got back. That's awesome,
Huh.
dude. That's awesome.
Yep.
So, what did you? So, I mean, I went to Bangkok twice, and I got robbed the first time I went. I don't know if you heard that. I did that segment with Jonas, and I explained how I got robbed in Bangkok.
Yeah, I remember that. Bangkok is like the gateway to Asia.
So I mean, I don't know, man. Like, for you, did you have any trouble in Bangkok, or like, what were your thoughts?
Yeah, there's scammers everywhere, like the tuk-tuk drivers, people on the street always begging you for money, trying to scam you.
It sucks, it sucks, doesn't it, man? I mean, like, I told Jonas before, but you want to be friends.
Yeah.
When I was there, I tried to be friends with everybody there, with the local people. I was all about being with the local people, not only hanging out with white backpackers, and now I see why people don't do it. Everyone's trying to rob you or, like, rip you off.
Yeah, what I did is like before I went on the trip, I did research like to see like what I should be aware of and stuff, and like I read like tips on like common scams that's over there. But even if you read those scams and like learn about them and be aware of them, like you still fall for something eventually. Like it just takes time to get used to it.
I completely agree. Like, there's no actual preparing for something like that. Like, even
Yeah.
when I did my research, like, when I got there, especially in China, there was just so many moving cars and noise and lights. It was like this huge wave of, like, I don't know, like overstimulation that was going on at the same time. It was fucking a lot for me, bro. At some point, I remember I thought about calling the police at the beginning, but I'm glad I didn't.
Yeah. I heard Chinese drivers over there like they're chaotic, really reckless.
It seems like they're just traffic rules just to be there. Like, that's the thing I
Yeah.
tell people in other countries. A lot of things there are illegal, but nobody really seems to obey the laws. You know what I mean? Like we're trying to implement so many like driving regulations like here, but nobody seems to listen. Nobody cares. They kind of just and it's first come first serve kind of thing. And I think
Yep.
really like we're not used to it. That's kind of what throws us off about that. You know what I mean? Like 'cause I see the way they drive there, and most people get by just fine. I mean, you might tell yourself, "Oh, I would never survive that," but you would if you
Right.
lived there a while. We're just used to our, strict rules and we obey the rules. I guess it just comes down to what you're used to.
Right. I never been to China, but I'm assuming there's like more cars than like scooters over there compared to like other countries in like Southeast Asia, for example, like Thailand or Cambodia or something, or Vietnam. They probably have like a lot more
Oh yeah,
scooters
for
over
sure.
there instead,
And when I
right?
got to Beijing the first time, they actually that whole motorbike thing was kind of coming to an end. Like I mean, I still saw some people ride in motorbikes, but this was 2009. But the longer I stayed there, the less I see it. There's just lots of cars, lots of buses, lots of buses, and taxis were the best part about it, man. I mean, taxis are just so cheap. Like you can literally just, and they're all everywhere too. There's plenty of them. Like you can just walk right outside. I've never waited longer than maybe 5 minutes for a taxi when I was out there in China. You know what I mean?
Yeah. There's no tuk-tuks there, right?
I only saw two in like really touristy areas.
Right.
Like when I went to the city of Dali or Yangshuo, which are these huge touristy areas in like the south of China. They were kind of old. They got the nice rivers and nice views, and it's less polluted compared to the majority of China. So I like those tourists like they go there and shit like that. But that's where you see tuk-tuks, and in some countries a tuk-tuk is kind of like a show thing. You know what I mean? Like, hey, I'm doing something different. But in Southeast Asia, they're like a means of transportation or a means of earning money for a lot of people instead of taxis. But you know what, man? I found more motorbikes. Actually, just as many motorbikes in Southeast Asia than I had. Like tuk-tuk seemed to be like a funny thing, but a motorbike was like everything. Like I saw guys in suits riding fucking motorbikes to like work and shit with their helmets. They had the dress
Yeah.
pants on and they're still riding the motorbike.
When I went to Cambodia, like the guys that work in the tuk-tuks, like that's basically their house. Like they live there, they sleep there, and like they're like 10 and 1 combo. Like the job they have, like you could they could offer people a ride, they offer people drugs, they offer people like prostitutes, they offer people tours, like everything you want. Like they just like
Can you explain
as you're
that
walking
before?
down
You
the
mentioned
street, they
you
just
never offered
keep
drugs.
bugging you.
I don't know what kind of tuk drivers you had.
Have you been
The
to
vast majority of them for me was just to get from point A to B. Like, hey, I want to get to my hostel, or I need to get to this tourist location.
Have you been to Cambodia?
Tell you about some tuk-tuks, man. Sorry, man, go ahead.
Have you been to Cambodia?
I did. Well, I did. And when I was there, it was kind of the same thing. Like,
Yeah.
one, I took the tuk-tuk to my hostel. I took the tuk-tuk to like the certain areas that other backpackers like, hey, visit I don't know if you remember them, but there's some certain area. I forget the name of it. It's just like the Beer Boy in Vietnam, where like it was they're cheap beers. I mean, like they're 25 cents a beer. They come in like these big giant kegs, and then they pour them in the cups. I don't know if you got it. It had a lot in Vietnam, and I found some of them in Cambodia.
No, I haven't. I don't think so. No. Have you ever?
Well, I want to ask you.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
Who offered you drugs? Like, what was that all about, man? You want to talk about that? 'Cause I was never offered drugs like this.
So this was in Cambodia in Phnom Penh. Like when you walk out of your hotel, there's always like a bunch of tuk-tuks like parked outside the entrance, and like as you're walking, they're gonna keep bugging you like tuk-tuk. They say tuk-tuk first, and if you ignore them or say no, they'll be like, you want marijuana, you want this, you want that. They'll just keep. They'll give you like a whole like line, like a whole paragraph of like offers, and like try to get you to like buy something, or accept some kind of offer.
You know what? You tingled a memory. I had that happen to me.
Yeah.
When I walked out, and then there was this like they kept following me a little bit, and they're like, "Well, I don't want to." Like, I remember that. I guess it is a drug offer, but not really, because 9 times out of 10 they don't really have drugs. They're just trying to like.
Right. They're trying to scam you. That's one of their scams. Like.
You know what? I don't have you experienced this scam already. When I was in Bangkok, I was warned about a scam. Like somebody dressed as a police officer would tell you, like when you walk to the main temples in Bangkok, someone dressed like a police officer will tell you, hey, you know what? That tourist area is closed for a government holiday. But look, my friend on that tuk-tuk park over there, he'll take you to this super secret temple that no other white people or foreigners know about, and for a really ridiculously low price, even by those standards. Of course, what happens is that when you go there, they'll drive you to this shop, and what happened to me will happen. They'll surround you with people and extort money out of you. So
That sounds familiar.
That.
Yeah, it sounds familiar. I didn't experience it myself, but yeah, like it sounds really familiar. Like I probably was like offered that before, but
I got cornered in Bangkok, but that almost happened to me because there was a guy who was dressed like a cop, and he stopped me and told me it was a holiday, but he fucked up because he said it was the king's birthday.
All right, hold on, guys. Hold on. I had I just had feedback from the audio tech. The audio tech says everything is perfect right now. Before we were having a lot of audio issues. Right now, everything's good to go. So maybe if we were just like jumping around or something right now, maybe we can just kind of sort of not start over. But right now, your audio was extremely very low. But right now, I got everything figured out.
Let's go back to the topic of today. I was gonna ask you like. So you said you've been to Laos and you've been to China and all that. Like, how do you compare the women there, like in these different countries, like from your experience?
So how I compare New York to Laos?
No. Like the girl. Like, can you differentiate like the girls from like Laos, for example, and like Thailand and China? Like, is there a difference in the way that they react to you and the way, like, your experiences?
I'm glad that you asked that question, and I'm just going to talk about it.
Okay.
The vast majority of Asian countries that I have been to, for reasons that we can debate if you want, they just seem to like Western guys. But the further into Southeast Asia I went, the easier it was. I mean, like sometimes they would just smile at you, stop you, call you. They say handsome for some crazy reason. The cute isn't a concept there apparently, and handsome. They don't say hot or cute like we do here. They just say handsome, and they're supposed to take it like that. But they would say that all the time. And I remember when I went to Vientiane, there was this one of the waitresses that served us the barbecue. She just kept asking to be my girlfriend, right? So she would even sit down next to me and just keep talking, and apparently not doing her job. I was like, okay, don't drop tables, like. And then actually, I was drunk. I ended up giving her my number, and she would even text a lot after it. And she made me call her, I think, it wasn't baby, was her nickname, or something stupid, but it was depend where you go. The most attention I would say I got easily would have to be either China or Vietnam. I would say would be the easiest for attention. It's a tie between the both. And that's saying a lot too, because there was a lot in Laos. There was a lot in Thailand, but nothing like China or nothing like Vietnam. And maybe that's because of the experience that I had. Like, I can't compare a number.
Why do you think that
my
is, though?
experience, there was a lot more in China and Vietnam.
Do you know why, maybe? Like, any idea why?
You know what? That's a good question, and it's a big topic. It's a kind of a philosophical topic, and I'll say why I say that. Because when you look at them, right? Like this is the thing that I got, especially living in China. There were so many girls that like me disproportionate to what I get here, that and I started to wonder: do they really like me, or do they want to come to the States? That's something everybody asks, right? You know what I mean? But the longer you live there, you start to wonder. Do they really see you as good looking, or you know what I mean? Like is looks a thing that, and it depends where you go. I was always kind of attracted to Asian girls, but the longer I stayed there, the more attracted I became to girls I would never look at back home. So my idea of attraction kind of evolved as I was there, and it changes. You know what I mean? Like, to be honest with you, this is why I believe that some people that get out of jail turn gay. I mean, like, if you're there so long with only dudes, they might start to seem attractive because of that long closeness. And it's kind of like that over there too. And I can't tell if because I was there weren't that many foreigners and they saw me and it's kind of like, wow, or they really just wanted to get into Western country. It's really hard to tell. And to be honest with you, I think deep down that they really do see us as better looking than we really are because there's so few of us there, and I don't know, like they see Western guys in movies, but for them, they don't really see Western guys a lot, and there's always just, the same kind of guy, so to see one in person must have such a wow factor that their eyes might tell them they're more attractive than they really are. I don't know if that makes sense, but
When you were in Thailand, did you notice, like, in commercials and like TV and trains, like there's commercials for like products that lighten skin, and like you always see a girl like rubbing something into her skin, and then like in the after picture she's like whiter, and that it appears to be like a thing over there.
Oh yeah, it was kind of a thing in China too. I remember one girl told me, I asked her, I'm like, why do you guys like, because lighter skin is beautiful and darker skin in some parts of Asia are considered disgusting. And not necessarily disgusting. One girl is like, well, if you have a darker skin, then that kind of shows people that you're from a poor family, because poor families, they would be outside in the sun all the time, they'd be darker, the girls would have to help the family by taking out the water or some shit like that, or you know what I mean? So it's more of a status thing. Like if you show you're lighter, you're like, hey, I'm not just trash, or then I'm not saying it, I'm just saying the way they look at it. I'm not lower class or whatever, you know what I mean? I am a higher standard, and I guess the lighter skin kind of shows that. That's the way it was explained to me in China.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Like in Thailand, there's a lot of diversity in that. Like girls from Bangkok are like lighter skin, or like Chiang Mai, and they kind of like dislike the girls that are from like the more urban areas, like Udon Thani, like towards the northeast, because they're darker skinned over there. So they kind of like
Right. And you're right, though. There seems to be a lot of tension in that. I know when I lived in Wuhan, it was really high tension because what would happen is that Wuhan would develop really, really fast, and all the other cities from the same province nearby wouldn't develop as fast. So you had massive migration to those places, and a lot of those places like farming areas, and they had the darker skin. So the city people would kind of look down on the country people, and they come with certain habits too, like spitting on the floor, picking their noses and shit like that. So, like the dark skin was always kind of an indication that you're on the lower class, and it seems lighter skin is an indication that you're
more educated
at an upper level.
Yeah.
Exactly. And apparently it was always like that in ancient China too. In ancient China, the palace girls, they'd always stay inside the palace all the time. They barely went out. When they did, they'd have the umbrellas to protect them from the sun. So even then, lighter skin indicated a higher status. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Also, I noticed that like Thai people, they really don't like loud people. Like if they ever want to like diss each other, they call each other, like they would call somebody loud, like another Thai person loud, just to like as an insult.
Funny how that works, because I lived in Vientiane for a month and a half, my girlfriend was Thai at the time, and she came to visit me. I'll do a separate episode about that with Jonas, and you'll hear it, just the full story. But let's just say I was going out with her at the time, and she came to visit me at that time. I met her in Beijing, and she came to visit me at this time when I lived in Vientiane. And the other Lao people I lived with in the neighborhood, they were always fascinated by me because I was the only like non-Lao person there. So they'd come to my house and offer me food sometimes, or they'd offer me, like stuff like that. And then they knew she was coming. So apparently, Lao and Thai, the languages are almost the same, and it's easy for Lao people to learn Thai and vice versa. My Thai girlfriend at the time actually spoke Lao fluently because the language is so close. So, I mean, she would get mad at some of the things. Apparently, they would say some stuff to her about her president or her country. Oh, you want to hear something funny? This is the real thing that got my ex-girlfriend mad. The little known fact about Laos, it is illegal to hook up with a Lao girl unless you're married to her.
Yeah, I heard that.
So that was really that was the hardest part about it, because when I was there, it was such a cock tease because like it was so easy, and some of the girls were pretty hot, to be honest with you.
But nobody enforces that though. Like, no one really enforces that. I think it's just something that like if you were to get into trouble, they could use that against you in like court or something. But no one really like does anything. Like
I remember one night I was at a restaurant and there was this Lao girl who had like a body for a woman compared to a lot of the women there, and I would eat in that place because it was close, and it was so obvious she was like hitting on me. And then one night when she was going to close the store, she asked me to stay behind and she closed it, and I think she wanted to do something, but I remember I didn't do anything because I thought I was going to get trouble. Like I'd been so paranoid at that time for other reasons I'll get into in another episode that I just didn't do it. I'm just like, no, I gotta go home, even though I really wanted to, man. Like, and this restaurant was like kind of like there was a couch on one side of the restaurant. It was really weird, you know what I mean? It was like there was a couch on one side, there were a couple
there's a lot of weird
tables. They looked like it was I don't know what that woman was up to, but I remember that too. It was really, really bad about that too. But yeah, I think you're right. They would have enforced it, but I was really scared to get in trouble at the time, and I just wasn't having it.
There's something I've been wanting to ask you the most. Like you mentioned before in the previous podcast that like, when you're over there as a Westerner, you're treated like a king. All the girls give you all the attention, and like it's so easy to get any girl you want. So like, I'm assuming that you probably went through a lot, and like over there you probably had a lot of girls and a lot of experiences. So I'm just wondering, like how do you, like if you can choose anybody, like how did you come to the conclusion, like with your girlfriend, like how did you over all those experiences decide to just stick with her out of all the girls you had like opportunities with?
To be honest with you, first of all, and I'm gonna get this into later episodes too in more detail. I could get anyone I want depending on where I was. Later on in my history, especially as China became more developed too, and it became there were some rejections, and it got to be a little more depending on where I was. 90% of the time I was successful, but there was that 10% of lack of success. I'm not going to say it was 100% all the time, but in the last podcast, I was in a city so small that I've never seen any other foreigner apart from me and a Canadian guy I worked with, and the success rate was nearly 100% there. You know what I mean? In Beijing, I think it was pretty good in Beijing, surprisingly, but I'm not going to say right now it was 100%. But to answer your question about that, I'm going to be honest with you, and I always say I come clean about this. I guess I say my wife is the one I really fell in love with, but like most of these girls that I end up being girlfriends were for short periods of time. The vast majority of the time we would do something, we would do it again, then again, and they would kind of wean themselves in to be my girlfriend. Does that make sense? I don't know if you got that there, but you get that a lot over there. Like they kind of wean themselves into you. Like they start coming over more, they start sleeping, they won't leave the house. I don't know if that ever happened.
So you felt like your current wife was like more genuine with you?
Yeah, I would say so. My wife isn't like a typical, I wouldn't say typical, you know what I mean? She'd been around, that she knows like a lot of different stuff, and she, I can't talk about her, like, I don't want to talk about her in detail out of respect. If I could, it would even make more sense. But let's just say she's not like the others, you know what I mean? And I guess that's what I was looking for. I mean, it's hard to say, but I mean, to answer your push the vast majority of the time. They sort of just forced themselves onto me, and I didn't know how to say no at first.
Yeah, I don't know if they were so like pushy in China. Like I was expecting it more in Southeast Asia. I thought China was like more kind of better off, but it's not. It's not only just like for money, right?
You know what though? It really depends because some of them, and you know what? No, I think I can answer that because I remember when I was teaching. For example, I was a teacher for a long time over there, and a lot of the time, a lot of the parents seemed to think I was this rich elite because they seemed to think, some of them, not all of them, but some of them seem to think that all Americans are these super high-level, elite, rich people, and that everyone's got these big houses, everyone's got more money than they know what to do with, and you know, like there's that perception of us, and that might have something to do with the attraction. You know what I mean? Like, but whatever it was, man, I mean, like it felt like celebrity status. I can see why celebrities get laid all the time. There's something about the perception of fame that just turns women on, and you might think, oh, I'm a man, I'm gonna resist, but no, man, sometimes it's hard, especially when you're drunk and they're right there and there's like titties in front of you, and it's really fucking hard, man.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
It's worse for guys like us, though. I don't know about you and your dating history, but for me, I'm just a normal guy. I was always a regular guy. I had like maybe 1, 2 girlfriends at best before I went there, and I wouldn't say any of them were getting in magazines anytime soon, bro. You know what I mean? It's fine. I mean, it's normal. Lots of people are like that, but to go from that to what I experienced was a huge fucking explosion for me, man. You know what I mean? Like I went
world out there, yeah.
It was just incredible. But I want to ask you something.
Yeah.
Did you ever have that happen to you? I don't know. I assume your success rate was the same as mine, probably better because blondes do significantly better in Asia than guys like dark complexion like me. So I assume for you it was like exponentially. Like, what were your feelings about it when you, or did you experience the same thing I did? I guess is what I'm gonna ask.
Well, I can't really. It's hard for me to compare because I didn't really like see. Like I wasn't, like with somebody
Look
like
at the goddamn camera, Bess. Sorry.
Uh,
I'm like holding your fucking hat.
But yeah,
Sorry.
yeah, there was like it was pretty easy. Like you stand out like when you go to a mall or something like that. Well, like the same thing that happens to you. They're always asking to take photos and stuff, trying to get to know you. So it's really easy to like meet people there.
I mean, it's weird though because like I don't know, man. I mean, like I was really out there just to have fun. I never took anything seriously. A lot of people over there took things way more seriously than I did. I was out for the ride. I was out to enjoy it. I was just trying to do the best I can to have a good time. I mean, sometimes we all, sometimes when you're in the heat of the moment, you all do things it's not really the best thing to do. But by and large, I didn't really hurt anybody. I was really just trying to have a good time.
Yeah, same. I really didn't know what to expect. I just left and that's it. And it's like a whole new world opened up. Everything was so different, and I loved it. I loved every moment of it. I miss it.
I miss it too. In ways I do, in ways I don't. But since this is the girls' topic, I'm gonna get into something. I'm not gonna do a full girl explanation thing. I'll do a separate episode with Jonas about that.
Okay.
But because it'll make sense later. But I am gonna do some pieces of it today. I'm gonna go as far though to tell you. I don't know if you experienced this, Artie, but it wasn't just the Asian girls too. I feel like when you live there, and especially in cities where there's so few Western guys, like the Western girls there that you normally wouldn't be attracted to, they start to seem more attractive. Like girls you would never look at back home suddenly start to seem desirable. You know what I mean? Like, and it was the same vice versa too. Like, you know what I mean? Like some of the Western white girls that I hooked up with, they probably hooked up with me mainly because like there were so much fewer of us, and it created a level of attraction that probably wouldn't be there otherwise. But on the other side of the coin, that I saw that as an opportunity to get to know somebody who probably wouldn't get a chance to talk back home. And vice versa too, like she probably wouldn't have given me a chance back home, but when she got to give me a chance and know me, she figured out that there's things she actually likes about me. I mean, I don't know if you had that experience there, but with other Westerners, there are opportunities to know somebody that you probably wouldn't get back home.
Like, where did you stay over there? Did you stay in apartments or hostels or hotels?
Mainly hostels. Mainly hostels.
Okay,
but
that's why.
Give you an example.
Like, I rarely
Sorry.
stayed at hostels. Like, I always had trouble sleeping. You know, like I can't sleep in a room with like 4 beds, like, you know, like 4 to 8, 12, whatever, you know. So I always got like a private. But I kind of, in a way, I kind of regret it because I missed out on a lot of experiences probably. Because you know, you get to meet a lot of other travelers that way. So I did occasionally stop by a hostel. But yeah, like I never really, like it wasn't my thing. I wasn't really into hostels. So I didn't really get to meet that many Westerners. You know, like the bars I went to were mainly locals and like Westerners that were like just like lived there. They weren't like, you know, touring or anything.
You know, actually, you reminded me in Bangkok. I heard someone get laid. I was in an 8-bedroom hostel. I'll never forget this. It had to have been August 2012. I was my first trip to Bangkok. I stayed in this hostel, and I stayed in this one massive bedroom dorm. It was like 8 to 12 beds at least. And I heard 2 people getting laid. Like I walked by,
I heard that too.
and they were in the middle of it. Like they had their blankets over them, and you saw the wrestling and the moving, and you heard the girl moaning. And I just kind of stopped for a second.
That happens a lot.
That
happens a lot.
And the funniest part was there was this Asian kid. I don't know where he was from, but he was sitting in his bed. And this happened at least 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Because I only went back there because I left something in my room. That's the only reason I was there. But this kid was sitting in his hostel room, just using his laptop, watching videos. And you would see that a lot in some hostels. Like for some odd reason, when people go there, they don't want to go out and like party or whatever, or see the sights or whatever. They just want to sit in the hostel room and watch TV or watch movies. You know what I mean? It's like, the fuck is the point of that?
Yeah, I don't get that. Like, just get your own room. I couldn't deal with it. It's like people would come to the hostel like really late, all drunk and like loud, and you can't really get sleep in that. Like I don't know, I'm a light sleeper, so I don't know.
Well,
I don't know
I was drunk more than half the time. A lot of the time I was there. So as soon as I went to the hostel, I would pass out. Sometimes I would pass out in my regular clothes. Sometimes I passed out with my shoes still on. You know, like it was. Did I ever sleep naked in a hostel? I don't know. I think I did, but I know I did one time. I don't remember where actually. But I just like for some reason I just had all my clothes off and I just like passed out right on the bed, but I didn't put my blanket over me or nothing.
What would happen if you wake up in the morning and it's like people like staring at you, like your roommates?
I don't know if anyone ever said anything. It doesn't seem like anyone said anything. I woke up and I was fine. You know what I mean?
So it's like a normal thing then, right?
Yeah, I guess you would say. I guess so. But I mean, it was fun. It was fun. But I remember. Actually, I still remember that though. I still remember hearing the on the fucking thing, and there was the blanket over. The 2 of them had the blanket over, and I saw the same Asian kid sitting on top. He was on the top bunk of it, so he was hearing the entire thing. He was sitting on his laptop. You could tell by his face he wasn't really watching the video. He looked like really angry, just like staring at it. Like I was like, oh man, dude. Go outside at least, man, or fucking change your room.
Yeah, right.
But I'll tell you what I was talking about before, man. When I lived in Wuhan, I'll give you an example. Wuhan is a university city, and lots of foreign students go there because a lot of the foreign students that go there, they go there to either study the Chinese economy, study Chinese politics. You know, they want to work for the UN one day, or they're just learning the Chinese language. So you would have, you know, there would be foreigners from everywhere too. This is, you know, a lot of them Middle Eastern and African countries, but occasionally there were Europeans there too. You know what I mean? And that gave me an opportunity because I met a lot of the students. We would all go to the same bars where the foreigners would gather, and you would just meet all different kinds of people from like everywhere, man. It was a good experience. But you even start to be attracted to some of the girls that go there because, like, you know, you see so many of the same kind of people, and you kind of miss that taste of back home. I don't want to say flesh, you know what I mean? But you get what I mean where I'm going with this, right? Like, you see more of that, and then compared to what you're always seeing, and then it gets you a bit aroused, you know what I mean? So it had that. There will be a lot of that, and I kind of feel like it was the same thing there. At the time, they weren't really attracted to the Asian guys, so guys like me or guys other kind of foreign guys that weren't really that common there, we started to seem more attractive, I think, than we really would have been otherwise. Which is fine. It gave me a great opportunity. It wasn't just sex. You know what I mean? Like I would talk to these girls, and we would exchange travel stories, and I learned about their countries, and I'd tell them funny stories about the states, and we learned the things we like, and you really get to know a person sometimes. You know what I mean? Like I just feel like here, everyone's so worried about red flags and fucking I feel like here everyone's just so scared, really, and I wouldn't say scared, but there's like a reluctance to talk here. But over there, when you don't really give a fuck, I think it's because you're so lonely overseas that you're kind of forced to open up to people even though you don't really want to. Whatever it is, people open up more, and you can actually be friends with people that you probably wouldn't get a chance to make friends with had you lived in the country, in the States, or maybe in other Western countries.
Yeah, I agree.
And that was the best part of it, and I made some lasting friends, and some of the people I met I had a falling out with eventually because I was drunk and out of control. But I still value the good times that we had, and I don't regret it, any of it, for whatever happened. But I'm going to do a full episode with Jonas one day about that, and you can hear it, but I'll just kind of swap stories with you a bit, but if you got anything else, but let's just say that it was a great opportunity to really meet people and like to really talk to people, because again, I don't mean to beat around the bush, go to the same topic, but it seems like, tell me, if you think I'm wrong, but it just seems like over here, everyone is more cliquish, and, there's only a certain narrow set of people you talk to, or if you try to talk to a girl here, it depends. If she's not really attracted to you, then every little hiccup is like a red flag. Like, you know what I mean? But over there, everyone just seems more open to talk to you,
Yeah,
and to give you
more
a
down
shot.
to earth over there. Like they're more like they're more relatable to like everybody else. Like nobody has like their guard up.
Exactly. I mean, that to me was the best part about it. And it sucks that I kind of had to go abroad to get this kind of slice of life feeling, and in some ways maybe I didn't really have to. But whatever coulda, shoulda, woulda, whatever it was, that's what happened over there, and I'm glad I did it.
Yeah, it's something I would never trade. Like that time that I spent there, I would never trade with anything. For those experiences I had, it was well worth it. It's something I'll never forget, and something I could always look forward to experience again.
And but I mean, it really just depends, because it wasn't 100% success rate in China. I'll get back to that part, but for the most part, it was. But here's the weird thing about that, and this is going to be really controversial. I don't know if this is live, and if people want to get mad, let people get mad. But from my experience, and Arthur, you can tell me if you had the same experience, I always felt like blondes were more preferable there than guys that look like me, for example. And you know what? I'll tell you another thing, too, about China. The darker you were, especially as a foreigner, the less it happened. I know African guys, like guys from Africa, or guys even from the States that were black, they had the hardest time with Chinese girls. They still got them, obviously, but it was way harder. Like, it was harder for black guys or guys that have an olive complexion like me to compete with blonde hair, blue-eyed, white boy types. You know what I mean? Not to demean anyone's race or appearance. I'm just saying the facts. You know what I mean? But it seemed like the blonder you were, the better your success rate was. Like, there was just guys that, for example, the times I got rejected, I was out-competed by guys that I should have beaten by all margins, except for the fact that he was white. And then you get that overt racism over there. And people get about it, but in a country like China, there's really nothing you can do about it. You know what I mean? Like, you have no rights there. You're just a visitor in their country. They can do whatever they want to you, really. So, I mean, what are you going to do?
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, I guess it's just like planted in their minds that, the lighter you are and like in every aspect is better, so not only your skin, like your hair too. I mean, I never really thought about it that way with the hair, but yeah, I mean, I guess I can see that happening, Sure.
You reminded me of an argument I got into with somebody once. I'm not going to say his name because he actually did me a couple solids, but when I lived in Taiyuan, another small city, worst experience of my fucking life. I can't wait to get to that episode. But I was close to somebody, and he had red hair, and he was what I was talking about. He was. Look, I don't want to say this because I'm not exactly a fucking beauty queen here, bro. But compared to him, I'm like fucking Zeus. Put it that way, right? But he would always outcompete me because he had red hair and he was white. And I remember one time, but he was one of the foreigners you get like that in China a lot. You know, when they get there and they get so much attention and celebrity feeling, they start to feel like they're these hot fucking suave guys. You get people that completely lose their minds. They don't talk to anyone at home or nothing. They're there for so long they really believe the life that they're having over there is legit. So this guy would actually try to tell me, I used to say one time, like, that's fucked up about the race thing. He's like, it's not fucked up. I'm like, how could you say that? What's wrong with you, bro? I'm like, you would never say that back in your country. Because he basically tried to tell me, oh, it's an evolutionary thing, we look different, and we look unique, and people are naturally drawn to that, too bad you were born. He tried to tell me I was born looking the wrong way. I'm like, what? And then he told me, it's like, well, put it this way. To them, we're exotic. You want things that are exotic too, and you can't choose to be exotic or not exotic. You're born with certain features, and the standards are different. What do you want me to do? That was basically his argument. I'm like, bro, he was from the UK. I'm like, you would never say that if you were from the UK. I should fucking record you, and like, I don't know, find a way to put it all over the internet or something like that. And I guarantee you, everyone would fucking take a shit on you and tell you completely wrong. Like, people get that kind of work. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like, I have a friend that like went to Ukraine. He's like he's like a darker skin, and like he got a lot of attention there because like, you know, all the girls there are used to like, you know, white guys. So for them, like a darker skin guy is like, you know, exotic, and he actually got the nickname Exotica over there because that's how like popular he was.
I mean, that begs a philosophical question.
He's actually in the chat
like,
right
what
now.
does attraction really mean, right? Are you like in other words, are you attracted everywhere you go, or are you only attractive in certain places and in certain situations? Does that make sense? You know what I mean? Like that's the big question that these kind of experiences kind of begged in my mind. You know?
Yeah, I guess that's why it's like kind of like harder here because, you know, in America everyone's like mixed, so you can have anything you want, basically, you know, whatever you're into. But if you're stuck in like a country where everyone's like, you know, looks like you know, then it's like different.
Exactly. But I mean, it's really, really hard to say. But personally, man, I'm gonna answer my own question. From my experience, I feel like, and I hate to say this because there's still so many arrogant assholes that are living over there and they think they're the fucking awesome because everyone treats them like celebrities there. Meanwhile, they're fucking not. But personally, I think that being attractive really depends on who's looking at you and where you are. You know what I mean? I mean, like, and not, you know, a lot of people, if I tell a lot of people this here in the States, they probably don't want to hear it, and which is normal because, like, it's a kind of an uncomfortable topic, and there's just such a large diversity and mixture that it's hard to grasp that concept, especially when you've never experienced it. But really, when you go to other countries, man, the perception of fucking attraction changes dramatically.
What's up? Is everything okay? What are you doing?
Yeah, you wanna? You have any questions?
No, I'm just listening.
Sorry, I was just responding to the chat. Somebody asked a question. You there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'm hoping to go back there. Like, it's like I wasn't supposed to be back, but because of Corona, you know, I had to be. So, like, I'm waiting for countries to open up, and like as soon as they do, like, I'm definitely gonna plan a trip. I miss it a lot. So,
Where are you gonna go back to?
probably start off with Bangkok. It's easy to get a flight there. Like, that's where everyone goes first. And then from there, you can basically book like cheap flights from like with like Air Asia, for example. You can go like to any country you want. Around that area.
Okay. And I guess you did the English teaching thing when you lived there, or did
No,
you get
no.
did
I
you work
did.
online? Or?
I was programming remotely, so I had my computer with me all the time.
Good. That's way better, man. Teaching English is I wouldn't say it's a terrible experience, but it was just so like.
Cairo,
Like, I
Cairo
don't know,
was
I mean,
asking,
like-
Arthur, why don't you share some of your experience with the lovely ladies of Asia, since this episode is entitled "How to Get Women
That'll be
in Asia."
That'll be for another podcast. I gotta prepare for that one.
Okay.
Can't really think right now. Like
Yeah,
top
I
of my head.
apologize to your viewers. I guess
No.
the title is that, but I mean, they're drawn to that.
No. This is a horrible podcast. The freaking we just had so many freaking technical difficulties. Yeah.
Is there any particular experience?
Well, we can do.
This is for Cairo. Like, is there any
We can do-
particular experience that you are referring to? I can't really remember right now.
What were you saying, Tim?
Well, I guess no. You kind of answered the question for me. I was gonna say that I guess so we just kind of got off topic there, but we can just answer viewers' questions, I guess, and we'll leave it at that.
Do we have any questions from the audience? I guess not.
Dude, my body's fucking burning up like crazy from this fucking insect repellent. Dude, this shit can't be good for you. They should honestly like fucking outlaw this. I'm fucking pissed. This fucking insect repellent shit that I'm putting, my body feels like my skin's ripping off.
I mean, it smells horrible. It's definitely not good for yourself.
It keeps the bugs off, but it's like, what the fuck's it doing to me?
If it keeps exactly. If it keeps the bugs off.
Like, why aren't the bugs coming to me? Like, think about it. If their job is let me get blood from living beings, they're like, nah, don't go to that motherfucker. Like, something's wrong with him.
Yeah, right.
Rob said, give me 1 second. Rob's chugging a beer down. He's gonna come up with a nice little question.
Yeah, I'm a little bit like really tired right now. Like I can't think straight because like I've been working really hard like lately. So
Okay. Well, we could answer this question and then just wrap it up, because, and you know, keeps pausing. She said it's messing up. Let me see. Hold on. It keeps pausing. Christina said, "Is it still?"
what, the video?
Yeah.
It's fine here, but
Yeah.
also I was drinking wine. Cheers. Also.
Cheers. Also, it's cutting out. Christina's saying it's lagging like crazy. Let's see. Let's answer a couple of questions, then wrap it up. Then I guess. What is the age of the group of tourists out there?
Questions for me.
Or in between?
Tours. Most of them are like 20s, like mid 20s. Because I think early 20s they don't have like money, and I see like couples like mid to late 20s usually. A lot of them.
Yeah, I would definitely say so.
Yeah.
But I've actually seen some really old ass dudes over there too, man. I mean, like there were some guys.
Well,
there.
those guys aren't tourists. Those guys
I
just are
see.
retired there.
Yeah, that's true. It's true. For tourists, they're largely in their 20s. But I've seen tourists that are in like their 40s and 50s, man. I mean, you'd be surprised.
Well, yeah. I mean, if you work your whole life, you never have time. You know, that's the time to go. I guess that's why I wanted to get it out of the way now, before I started work. Because I don't want to go there when I'm 40, 50. That's like too old already. Well, I mean, you could easily do it, and a lot of people do. And I actually met a bunch of people that are completely fine. But yeah, I just wanted to experience it while I was, still young.
I mean, it's the same for a lot of people, really. I mean, like that's the time you really go, because that's before you have kids or
Yeah.
responsibilities and shit like that. And the 20s are really the best time to be a completely dumb fuck. And Asia is definitely one way to go on that route.
Did you ever notice this, like in Thailand, for example, if you would go I mean, a lot of at hostels or around temples, like the Westerners there, like it would be like a couple, and they would be dressed like these like hippies, and they were or they would be dressed like the Buddhist people themselves. Like they would be overdressed, like they dress more than the Thai people themselves, and they just like kind of it just looks ridiculous. Like when I look at them, I would be like disgusted because it's like they're trying so hard to like fit into their culture, and it's not even their culture, and it just like kind of like pissed me off a lot. I don't know. It just like every time I saw that, I just didn't even want to like look at them. Like if they were to talk to me, I wouldn't talk to them.
I mean, everyone's got their pet peeves and everything like that, you know, so I completely get why you'd be upset about that.
Yeah.
There was some of that, but I didn't see too much of it, luckily.
A lot of military people. You know, there's a lot of convicts that I met. In Thailand, for example, a lot of Australian convicts. Like they commit a crime in Australia and escape to Thailand or another country like Indonesia. And I came across a bunch of them, and they're always like they think they own the land sometimes, like because they're like they're criminals and they got away with like murder, so they think they could get away. If they could get away in Australia, then they could get away in Thailand, because you know Thailand like it's there's less cops around, so
It's like, for me, I would hear a lot of that, but I always was skeptical about that. I mean, like, they call themselves military veterans or convicts, but I don't know, man. I just feel like the vast majority of them I met were just telling me stories, you know what I mean? I don't know if you ever
That's
got
true.
that
It's
feeling,
possible,
Marty, but
yeah.
it just felt exaggerated.
yeah, they could be doing that too, yeah.
Well, like, the fact that somebody asked that question means, like, to somebody else, they definitely have it in their mind before they go there. Hey, let me put in this brand new persona and say I'm this military psycho or this convict, and no one's gonna know. Because that's the thing about traveling, man. You can tell a bunch of stories, start a whole new identity, make up a whole new series of crap, and no one's
Yeah.
really gonna find out. You know?
Yeah, it's a fun thing to do. Like you could like test yourself and see how people react and see how it is to be like someone else, I guess.
I mean, I'm from Brooklyn, and I'm not gonna say I know better, but like sometimes you can tell who's dangerous and who's not. At least for me. And the vast majority of these guys, I think they were storytellers. They were drunk or on drugs, and they're just making up all these stories and making themselves look like. I met this guy who said he was a military psycho or something like that, like he was killing people, and then they were trying to arrest him, and he escaped like he's the fucking Bourne Identity or something. I'm like, please, bro.
Why would he want to like tell like some random guy they just met though?
Exactly. That's what I'm talking about with these people. They're not smart in the way they lie. First of all, if you ever did kill someone or do something crazy, you're not gonna go around and be like, yo, I killed someone, yo, I killed someone. If you had to do that, you didn't fucking kill anybody.
Yeah, maybe they're trying to make themselves feel better, or like trying to feel like superior or something like that.
I think they
In a
just
dumb
want
way.
people to think they're better than they really are,
Yeah.
or they want to draw attention to themselves. That way everyone likes them, everyone's scared of them. I even had dumbasses that believe that too. That military psycho guy, a bunch of other people like, man, this guy's crazy, don't go near him. And I used to tell them, like, you believe him? They're like, yeah, why would he lie about that? And I'm like, because people lie. He's like, yeah, but you don't know, you're just assuming that he lied. I'm just like, how dumb are, in my head, like, how dumb are you fucking people? I don't know. You know what I mean? But you get some of that. You get some people be like, oh, you don't know if he's lying. I'm like, yeah, they play on that. You know what I mean? They play on that kind of assumption, but most times I feel like if you're smart, you know.
Yeah, exactly. You can't trust anybody out there. Like
Exactly.
the
I used to take
yeah.
everybody's story with a grain of salt, believe me. I guess, Jonas, do you have any other questions?
I don't think so.
You know what? Since this is still about girls already, I want to ask you a question,
Sure.
actually, if you don't mind.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, and this might be an uncomfortable question for you, and I've already come out open with this, and I'm not ashamed. And if you are, then you don't have to answer it, but it's just like a question. Like, I don't mean anything by it. I'm just asking.
Yeah.
Would you say that you slept around a lot when you were in Asia?
Yeah, I did.
Like, compared to here, would you say that the number is exponential? For me, for example,
Oh, definitely,
exponentially,
of course.
like by a large margin.
Yeah, the same.
Okay, and let me ask you a question too. Have you ever slept with somebody who kept coming back to your house, kept trying to? I had one, for example, one woman, she kept knocking on my door at 3 o'clock in the morning, and when I go out to work, she'd still stay there, and I found her just sitting there playing with her phone as I got out. She'd follow me to work. Like I don't know if you had that before, but that happens.
I had it happen like in other ways, like through phone, like text messages, you know, something like that. Like, but like usually I wouldn't like stay in the same place for too long. I would keep moving around, so they wouldn't like really find me.
You know, I know a story about some. I won't say his name because I feel bad for the guy, but he had this happen to him. Like before he brought his girlfriend, from the Western country, I won't say where, he was messing around with another Chinese girl, and he broke up with her before the girlfriend came to live there in China. So he eventually, the girl wouldn't stop leaving him alone, and eventually she found out what was going on. So she somehow found out this girl's number and kept sending threatening text messages to that girl's phone. So the girlfriend's just figuring out, why am I getting these threat messages from a random person? The boyfriend eventually had to come clean, and she forgave him for the whole thing too. Now, mind you, I heard this story from second or third party sources. I don't know how true this is, but I know it happens a lot. But for this particular case, she kept getting text messages, and she went to the workplace, and she came to the workplace one day with like 6 or 7 or 8 guys behind him, and she walked up to the guy and she told the guy, "Oh, you played me, and you broke my heart," or something like that. And you know, like these guys are pissed off, and these guys would look at him like all threatening and shit like that. And he was so scared, he tried to go to the cops, and the cops didn't do anything about it. They're like, "Oh, okay, well, we'll figure this out," and nothing happened. The guys kept following him. They kept sending him threatening text messages. They kept knocking at his door randomly. Like they would knock on his door, and he wouldn't answer it. And at some point when he opened it, they would just be gone, which was really weird. But eventually, he had to leave the city, both of them.
Wow. That's pretty crazy. Poor guy.
And you know, I'll never forget one time. There's this girl in Linz.
Cut out.
And she was hitting on me, and so I took her back. Well, anyway, I knew she wanted it, and I was horny, right? So I was like, fuck it. I took her back to the hotel that night. We did it, and she kept asking me to finish inside her, and I wouldn't do it. Eventually, this girl, like literally no joke, wraps her legs around me and forces me as I did this, and I got it off.
Yeah, they do that a lot.
What the fuck?
That happened to me too.
Dude,
I
are you
swear
serious?
to God, bro.
They want you
Like
to
a
get them
snake.
pregnant.
She had it wrapped around my hips. Thank God she wasn't like very, very little, because I still moved her legs forcibly. I never like to use strength on a woman, but in this case it was like life or death for me. So I fucking unwrapped her legs with all my strength and got myself off.
Did you ever get like the pregnant scam for them?
No, thank God I never had that happen. There was one that I was on with on the regular, and I think, and I remember she tried to say that she was pregnant, but I didn't believe it. So what I normally do is I was waiting for her. She kept saying that. Luckily, she didn't say after more than once. So she obviously wasn't pregnant. She was just trying to get me to go back with her. But I had that happen before.
Yeah, then they send you like a fake baby, like the scan.
No, nothing like that. She would just say I'm pregnant, and then I wouldn't say anything. She would text
Just
again
ignore
like I'm
her.
pregnant. But after that one day, that kind of charade just stopped.
Yeah, I guess that's one way to end it.
Exactly. I mean, it's hard to, but I even remember that one was just following me the whole fucking time, and I didn't know what to do. I remember thinking, like, what the fuck do I do? And it was really weird. It's hard when they follow you to your workplace, because if she's in the middle of your classes coming, and you're just like, you know, your boss is gonna ask you, like, what the fuck are you doing? I wouldn't know what to say.
Yeah, that's why it's best to not let them know like where you are all the time. Like if you're gonna like if you're gonna bring them somewhere, like just rent like like for just one night get a hotel that's separate from yours or separate from your apartment. Just in case.
Exactly. But it would have you ever had anything similar where they try to trick you into getting them pregnant?
Yeah, I had like similar situations. Yeah.
Well, I remember I was so nervous about that. Luckily, when I usually get that scared, my thing kind of just goes down. So the longer she wrapped herself around me, the harder it was for me to really just finish it. You know what I mean? So that also helped in addition to moving her legs. But I was so scared heard about that. I was like, fuck, man, I would have had a 10-year-old kid I don't know about or something like that.
Hey, you might have a bunch of kids out there that you don't know
Right? I'm
about.
like Genghis Khan with so many kids out there, right? Please.
Yeah. I mean, think about all those drunk nights you don't even remember. So.
You know what? That's a funny thing about not remembering. A lot of the times I don't remember, but when I say I don't remember, I can't like piece the whole thing, but I still remember bits and pieces of almost every single night, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't think it ever got to.
Yeah. So you
But
never.
otherwise, man, I remember. How did you feel, Arnie, the first time that this started happening to me? Because I came from the West, and you know, you think like you do in the West, right? Like, you know, why would she like me? What's her agenda? What's going on here? At first, I used to be really scared because, you know, when she would flirt with me, I would say something's up. I would be like mad quiet and mad serious, and then just like, you know, just kind of feel out what's going on. But the drunker I got, the more loose I got. And I remember always being scared at first, like, yo, this is definitely a trick. But as it goes on long enough and you see they genuinely like you for whatever reason, then you start to calm down and thinking it's a trick. I remember like always feeling like that.
Yeah, it's hard to trust. It's hard to trust them. Like, well, I had problems with that because, like, you know, you don't know their intention.
But I mean, to answer the viewer's question about picking up the ladies, it's not even a way of picking it up. I don't even think game is required. You just have to kind of show up, and they'll laugh at almost any single joke. Like, I would just throw in a little joke, and they would find it, I don't know if they were acting, but they would find it hilarious. And some of the guys that did that, they believed themselves to be flirtatious and funny. I never thought myself, not once, that I ever really think myself flirtatious. I always knew what the fuck was going on, and I kind of just rolled with it.
Yeah.
But,
Same.
I mean, I just...
Exhausted.
Yeah. Wrap it up then. Said Arthur's tapped out. He's exhausted. We're gonna refresh, recalibrate, and do it again.
All right, Jonas. All right, I appreciate it, man.
Yo.
Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely.
And, thank you, everybody, for tuning in. And I guess we'll just do this next time.
Yeah.
Take
Arthur
care,
had. Yeah. Take care, guys.
Good night.
All right, have a good night.